Greetings, friends. Welcome back to Stellarium astronomy software for astrologers with your host and celestial navigator, Gemini Brett. I've done this before. I'm doing it again. It is now 2022. Stellarium keeps updating, so we need to update these training videos as well. This is part 3 of the series. In part 1, I introduced the intention of the series and explored the web-based version of Stellarium, which you can play with for free at stellarium.org here. In part 2, I showed how to download Stellarium onto your computer. And here in part 3, we're going to dive into Stellarium, and we are going to play in this video with the location and time and date menus. So during the course of the next many Stellarium instructional videos, we will get through these many menu options here that you will find on the lower left of Stellarium, as well as these many options of different menus that you find at the bottom left of Stellarium. We will look at adding and subtracting things from these bars, setting up keyboard shortcuts and all sorts of other things. But for today, we want to explore time and space. All right, so first I want to direct your attention to these tiny little arrows in the bottom left. As you can see, when I move my mouse away from the menus, they go away and then they come back up if I move my mouse either left or down. There's 2 tiny arrows in the corner that if I click them, they will keep the menus on. So you see, like, play just turned on to stop, like it stops the menu there. If I hit that same one for the bottom thing, now the bottom menu stays as well. For right now, well, you know what, let's keep them both up. And we want to explore this location menu and then this date and time window. So when I click those, as you saw, they came up. I can click them again and they'll go away. Right, so here's location on, location off, or location on, and I can use the X here to turn it off as well. I currently sit, oops, that was an unintentional trackpad zoom. I meant to do this. I currently sit in El Sobrante, California. It is 10:30 a.m. on Tuesday, June 14th, 2022. I'm looking at the sun. Well, not yet. It's kind of over there right now, right? But in Stellarium, we would see the sun in the southeast if this was set for where I sit, but it is not. As you can see down here in the lower left, it says Earth Paris. And that was the default. When I downloaded Stellarium onto my computer and I opened up Stellarium, it had Paris activated. That might be true for you. That might have something to do with the general location settings on my computer. I might not be sharing where I'm sitting, and so it defaulted to Paris because Stellarium was created in France. I'm not sure. But either way, I want to change that. I want to change that to where I am currently so we can see what this Astro Gold astrology chart is showing in this evolving moment here on the Stellarium screen. So to do that, we're going to change the location. So I'm going to either hover over here and click this location window tab, or as you can see as well, as I'm hovering here, it says location window and in brackets F6. So it's telling me that F6, function 6 key, is a keyboard shortcut to open the location window. These are good to get to know. Like if you are an astrologer and using Stellarium, you are likely going to be changing locations, you know, time and space frequently. So it's good to know F6 opens this and closes the location window here in Stellarium astronomy software. All right, so I'm going to type here El Sobrante and find that it's actually not in the Stellarium database. So we are going to learn how to input a location manually. I'm going to start with getting something close. Or I can click here in the Bay Area of California, which is where El Sobrante is. When I do, it's going to limit the list here to only places there. So like if I type, Paris now, it's not an option because Stellarium is only giving me suggestions for locations nearby, the place on the map that I clicked. If I reset this location list, then I'll be able to type Paris. Oops. And Paris will show up. I just want to pause there because you may have seen like these images popped up on the screen. Sometimes it happens on my MacBook, but not on my desktop. When I'm typing here, even in a place like this location, the keystrokes will activate keyboard shortcuts. So R is a keyboard shortcut for turning the art on and off in Stellarium, like the art of these constellations. So anyway, that's what happened. I'm gonna turn that back off. We'll get to that later. So I'm gonna type in Paris to finish the point, and here's the different Paris options. But okay, so let me go somewhere close to El Sobrante since my location is not currently in the Stellarium database. I'm very close to Oakland, California. See, that was keyboard shortcuts again. I wonder if you'll have that experience. It only happens for me on this particular computer. Okay, I went to Oakland. I just want to go here and get a keyboard shortcut. I'll come back into this location window. And so Oakland is 3748 and some change north of the equator and 122 west. And I'm going to be able to manually input the El Sobrante, California latitude and longitude from Astrologers software, or perhaps you don't have astrology software telling you where you currently sit. I mean, I could get really accurate if my smartphone was in the room and just get a lat and long for this particular position I'm sitting in this moment. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go online. I'm just going to search El Sobrante lat long. And we see this come up. Okay, so you'll see here in Stellarium, it's given in degrees, arc minutes, and arc seconds of latitude and longitude, but I can't type in a decimal figure. I might even be able to copy and paste. I'm going to see. So 37.9771. Click that till it's all highlighted. Yeah, and then I just pasted, and there's that 37.9771. I'm going to hit tab, and it's going to convert it to degrees, arc minutes, and arc seconds of latitude. Actually interested in seeing how close this is to what Astrogold astrology software has. So look, 3758 38. Let's see. 3758 38. Okay. Let's type in this 122 17 39. So right now Oakland was 122 16 and change. So I'm going to go 122 17 and turn these seconds into 39 and then hit tab again. You know, the elevation is going to make very tiny differences, but if I really want to go for it, maybe I could find that here or search online elevation of El Sobrante, California. 187 meters. No, 187 feet. And I think Stellarium uses meters. So now I have to say 187 feet in meters. And the answer is 57. Okay, so it's higher than this. Might as well update that to elevation of 57 meters. And the truth is, like, I'm up on a hill above City Hall, which is likely what they're looking at when they report that elevation, but I'm going to say this is good enough. And now you can see that I have the option of creating this as a new name for the city, which I'm going to do. All right, El Sobrante, and I'm going to write California. This used to say countries, and I don't know, but it doesn't anymore. I will leave it at that, leave my opinions out of it. So El Sobrante, California, Northern America. Now that I started with somewhere close by, I started at Oakland, which is down the road. It has the correct time zone in for me. You can see that I have enabled daylight savings time checked. So that's going to automatically update when the calendar goes back and forth to daylight losings crime, as I like to call it. I could click this box, use custom time zone, and set that to something else. I find that, by the way, as an astrologer with some clients, like they might be born in a town of Illinois or Florida in a certain year or decade that decided to turn off daylight losings crime for some time. And so when I type in their birth time, it's actually off from their birth chart, and then I have to make adjustments. That's something you'll run into sometime if you're a consulting astrologer looking at a lot of different charts, as I'm sure you've already experienced in astrology software too. All right, so this is my home. It's what I want to set up as my default. Use current location as default. Now, look at this box. There's a get location from network. Well, let's try that. And you'll see it just updated for, wherever my IP address is. It's whatever the secret government is seeing and where I'm chiming in from. So there you go. I mean, they did change this to 0 meters elevation. Apparently, my location in that regard is only giving lat and long. So maybe I can uncheck that box, and I don't know. I want to uncheck use custom time zone. All that stuff seemed to go a little bit awry. But I'm going to change this now to 57 meters once again. And I want to call this El. So they got the name of my current location from my IP address is El Sobrante. I want that to say El Sobrante, California. You see what happened there? Like my keystrokes just defaulted to keyboard shortcuts again. I've never seen it on a different computer other than this particular laptop, by the way. Hopefully you don't have that issue. It's quite annoying. All right, so now I'm where I want to be. I'm going to set this location as default by clicking this box right here. Right here. Right here. It seems to not let me do that. Huh. All right, well, maybe first I need to add this to the list. So I'm going to try that. All right, add to list. Okay, so now we have El Sobrante, California, Northern America. Maybe now, yeah, I had to add it to the list first before I could select it as my location as default. Okay, so now I'm out of Paris. I'm in El Sobrante. I'm looking at the clock here, June 14th, 2022. And it is 10:41 a.m. and the astrology software agrees, so all is well. I mean, I could turn off the atmosphere and my keyboard shortcuts took the planets and the stars away, but I mean, there's some things I could do to confirm whether or not this chart is accurate for what I'm looking at here in this chart, but we're going to get into that in future videos anyway. So let's just bring the atmosphere back in. There's some keyboard shortcuts that happen that I don't know how to change. But regardless, I want to quit Stellarium now and make sure that that set default location took. All right, so I'm just going to hit Command Q, quit for the Mac device. And then I'm going to open up Stellarium again, and let's see if it worked. If so, this should open up to El Sobrante, California, which I just set as the default. Just want to check in with the clock time too. It says 10:42 a.m. and we're on point. So 10:42:28. Okay, great. So there is location. This next option on the left menus, and remember, if I go left, those menus pop out. I can push this arrow pointing to the right here. I guess it's a play button is what it's meant to be, because when I push it, it turns to stop. So now that menu is just kind of out here. I want to show you as well, if I put the stop button here, then this bottom menu is stuck, because there are some interesting time features here there's like a time bar, and let's finish there with this video. Now I'm going to go over to this date time window, and you can see that F5 pop up. That's a keyboard shortcut to use. I'm going to turn that on and off to show you that that works. Turn it on, use the X to turn it off. I can use function F5. And we'll see that it's going real time right now, yeah? Date and time, there is, as we will see down the road, a place where we could change that. Some of you would prefer to see, the 14th of June instead of June 14th. I can go over here and click on Julian Day. And this is showing me the current Julian Day. I'm a little bit embarrassed to say I don't know what MJD is, but I could have just hovered, I guess. Modified Julian Day. Okay, I'm fascinating. Maybe that's modified to start at the shift from BC to AD. I'm not sure. I don't play with Julian time much. This one is the Gregorian calendar. And it's for right now. And look, I can just click through these hours. Let me zoom out a bit. This is me just using my trackpad on my laptop. And the Mac, it's like 2 fingers to zoom. There are some keyboard shortcuts for zooming that we'll look at later. But let me go now. Okay, so I've moved some hours ahead. Look down here. I'm just going to grab this date and time window and bring it down here, even though you can see the date and time is also at the bottom bar. Next to the play button, which is playing through time. Actually, it had already been playing, so I just turned into that pause icon. As you can see, that means it is paused, right? Look at how the time stopped. But there's a button right next to it, which is set time to current time. And then I could hit turn that pause into play, and I could hit current time again. And now we're doing real time. We're playing by seconds. Like this is like what actually is going on where I sit right now. This is south. The sun is still over here a little bit, right? You can see the sun is southeast. Okay. Well, let's move through minutes. And maybe I want to stop time, and then I can select minutes here. And now I'm just pushing my up arrow on my keyboard. Once this is selected, you can see it's highlighted, and I'm pushing up. You can see I'm moving through minutes, right? I can click forward or backwards through hours. Pretty self-explanatory. If I want to see what the sky looks like tonight at 8:33 p.m., well, that would be 20. They do 24-hour time. So there's 8:33 p.m. Here it says 20:33. Oh, here as well, although we will see in a future video how we can change that display to AM, PM. Yeah, you know what? Because this is the location, date, and time video, perhaps we should do that now. So there are many other menus that we'll be exploring here on the left. Okay, but I want to show you this configuration window. It's a good friend. Okay, so F2, or clicking the monkey wrench. And here's a menu tab at the top that says time. And so I can see here that the display formats of date and time, I have year, month, and day. You could change that to day, month, and year, or month, day, and year, all these different things. I'm not actually seeing an option for AM, PM. You'll see that we can change between 12 and 24-hour format. So if I do 12-hour format there, now you just saw down below, it went to 8:33 p.m. Remember, I had set this up for 20:33. So if I go back to 24-hour format, there you go. 12-hour format, now it's going to do AM or PM, which I personally prefer. Notice that that did not change, however, here in the date and time window, just in the display down at the bottom bar. System default, I'm kind of surprised, is 24-hour time, but whatever. I like 12-hour time, so I'm going to go with that. Now, anytime we make changes in this menu, we're going to want to go to the main tab in the configuration menu and write Save Settings. Okay. We'll look at some of these other things later. I'm just going to look back to time. Now, the algorithm of delta T, you really probably don't want to change without learning about what all these different things are. I'm going to leave it at its default. Maybe we can talk about that later, how you can make your own, but that's pretty advanced astronomy stuff for now. You can also see that the startup date and time is currently selected for system date and time, right? So now that I'm set to California, if I open up this tomorrow on June 15th at 6:22 a.m., it's going to open up on June 15th, 2022 at 6:22 a.m., right? For this place that I set as my default. But if you're working on your birth chart, for example, or someone else's chart, and you want to be able to just really tune into that time, as you can see, you can set this for another time. You could save a different place as your default. You could set this, as your system starts up at a specific date and time. Now, I will say I've done that before. You know what? Let's do it once. I'm going to set this up for my birth chart, and I think we will end there today. Besides just showing that, I can cruise through years. I can jump in here and I can type. For BC or BCE, they use negative. So I could go just put a negative in front of that, and now I'm in negative 2025 or 2025 BC, right? I can send this to the future. Here's 15,321 AD, right? Many, many years from now. And Stellarium, if you're familiar with precession of the equinoxes, will actually precess the zodiac and some of the other long cycles like Nuation, etc. It's pretty amazing. Okay, and remember, I can always click right here next to the pause play button, and you can see it says, as I highlight that, I want you to look to the very lower left. Let me show you where I want you to look here, right above where it says El Sobrante. As I highlight that, you'll see in brackets the number 8. Okay, so what that's telling me is that 8 is a keyboard shortcut that takes me to right now. So I can see that it's now 10:50, or it was 10:50:35 when I hit that button. If I let this play, I'm going to hit 8 again, and we're going to see the seconds change from 39 seconds after this minute to whatever it is right now. Right, just jumped a little bit ahead. And now I'm not. Sorry. It didn't move because that 8 actually just added, as you can see, an 8 to the year because I was clicked into a place. So let me go over here. We're going to look there, and I'm going to click 8, and you'll see that just changed. This is real time right now, 10:51 and 16, 17, 18, 19, etc. Okay, I'm going to bring my birth chart up here. With only Jupiter and Saturn shown. Okay, we'll keep the rest hidden for now. I'm not sure what I was working on, but whatever. What I want to show is this. I was born 7:39:02 p.m. in Boston, Massachusetts on October 24th, 1975. I'll actually bring in more of my chart. Now you know everything about me. But maybe I want to explore that time and space here in Stellarium. So for me, for some reason, it's just I'm less nervous if I just stop time. It's not just ticking away. It's feel a little bit better. Okay, I'm gonna go to the location window. I'm gonna type Boston, and keyboard shortcuts took over once again. Still. Okay, so you can see there's a few different Boston options. Boston, Northern America is where I was born, Boston, Massachusetts. I can confirm that it's 42 degrees north of the equator and 71 degrees west of the prime meridian in Greenwich. And you know what? I'm going to set this up as my default location. And let's try this game. First of all, I guess I'll just set this up, 1975. October 24th at 7:39, which is 1939. It looks like there were a bunch of torrid meteor showers happening in the east, in the Andromedids as well. I actually didn't know that about my birth, so thank you, Stellarium. I tend to turn those off, and we'll talk about that in a future video, but it's kind of cool to have just learned that about my birth time and place. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Just like unintentional keyboard shortcuts have taken much of this away. The only planet that was above the ground when I was born was Jupiter. So for now, that's as much as I'm going to show you in correlating the Stellarium experience to an astrology chart, but in future videos, we will be building onto that. So I'm going to set this up actually as my default time and place. So let me make sure I click Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm going to go use location as default. Looks like I already clicked that. I'm going to change that just to make sure that that's true. Okay, so that's my default place. I'm then going to go into the monkey wrench, the configuration window. It's already on the time tab here. And then I'm going to go startup date and time at other. And well, hopefully I can type in here. Looks like it. Okay. So 1975, 1939 is my birth time. And then October 24th. It didn't take. Oh, maybe this is written as, I have to write 24 of 10. Okay. Oh, and look, you can set it up for a system date, but at a particular time of day if you want to just kind of continually research what does sky look like at 11 p.m. where I am or where my default location is set for. All right, so let's leave that there, and I'm going to go to the main menu and do Save Settings. And now let's quit Stellarium and come back in and see if it comes in Boston, Massachusetts, and comes in at that particular date and time. And the answer is yes, but look, the clock is ticking. Right, so it really quickly goes away from my birth time, and I have to come into the date time window and reset that anyway. Right, so I mean, I guess if you want to set it for your birth time, set it for 5 seconds before, so when you open up Stellarium you can hit pause time and it stops on your birth time or whatever it may be. Yeah, I'm seeing just from a few little clues that this is indeed is me. We can see that it's set for Boston, but for the future videos I want to change that, so I'm going back into configuration window, time, startup at system date and time, main, save settings, location, and I'm going to, now that I've added this place El Sobrante to the list, just type El Sobrante, there it is, it pops up. Use location as default. Okay, let's quit one more time and then come back in and see that those setting changes took. I believe we're going to see this come in at 10:57 a.m. on June 14th, 2022 in El Sobrante, California. There you go. The sun pretty high above the horizon. I don't want to have to zoom in and out every time. This is a little bit more like the human view unless I lift my head up, right? But I like to do something a little bit more like that. That will be probably for our next session here of Stellarium astronomy training for astrologers, because I want to get in and show you things like the sky and viewing options menu. All right, and we'll see about adding the ecliptic plane and other things that are going to be essential tools for the astrologer who is utilizing Stellarium astronomy software to help you learn how to see the chart in the sky and bring more of the sky into the chart. See you next time, friends.